Oh, the equipment. All right. So here I have what's depicted. Okay. The support equipment that I'm talking about that they have, and actually, I'll just keep on going in sequence. They had this, but it was returned, but then they kept this. Okay. So my support radio, my support mass, the new contractor's wireless access point is installed onto my support mass. That's mine. Okay. So he should have installed his radio down here, but there was no need to install another radio because the ranch already had one. And it's a lot better and stronger than that one. I don't understand it. Okay. Well, I do. That's coming. That's coming. All right. So across the street, kind of same thing. Point everything out. This is mine, and its pole mass is mine. All this, the rest of this stuff is the contractors, and that box, which I didn't keep the box, but I was trying to recover this and in that. Okay, and so still haven't recovered this and that, the mass or the support radio. All right. So since I sticked in 3 days of invoices, got notified by Rich to meet him at the this box here, at the camera box, which is below, so I could retrieve my stuff. All right. I'm going to make this portion as small as possible. And I'm not going to say board member's name at this particular time. I'm pretty sure anyone in the HOA that sees this, you will be seeking answers and know exactly who it was. And so so on the 18th, I met Rich and the board member. Before I move on, I want to bring up California recording laws. Okay, and you have to understand when you can record people, when it's deemed private or in a public area, or where a place that two people expect a reasonable amount of privacy. California pretty much was a two-party consent state, but the laws have changed, and so it's actually a one-party consent depending on the circumstances. If you don't know the law, then you'll wind up getting yourself in trouble. Me, I know the law. So real quick, I'm gonna go through this recording law just so that things are understood.
California Recording Law Summary. California's principal recording law, Cal. Penal Code 632, stipulates that it is a two-party consent state. In California, it is a criminal offense to use any device to record communications, whether they are wire, oral, or electronic, without the consent of everyone taking part in the communication. This means that in California you are not legally allowed to record a conversation you are taking part in unless all parties are in agreement. However, there are a few exceptions, such as public conversations with no expectation of privacy, within government proceedings that are open to the public, recording certain crimes. California also has a wiretapping law, Cal. Penal Code 632, which can result in criminal prosecution for the unauthorized recording of a phone line or other media. Unique components. Due to California's heavy involvement with the entertainment industry, the state also has some unique laws pertaining to celebrities and paparazzi. These laws forbid trespassing for the purpose of taking photos or making audio recordings of people participating in personal or familial activity. Cal. Civil Code 1708.8. California has some laws specifically related to paparazzi. The state's vehicle code prohibits anyone from following other drivers at close distances or behaving recklessly while driving with the intent to take photos, video, or record audio of another person for profit. Cal. Ver. Code 40008. Our recommended digital voice recorder. Examples of illegal recording of confidential communication in California. Some common situations where it would be considered eavesdropping to use a recording device. Recording your boss in a meeting without their consent. Intentionally recording your neighbor's private conversations while in an apartment building. Using a recording device to intentionally eavesdrop on a private conversation in an intimate restaurant. Recording public officials at an administrative proceeding open to the public or a public gathering while on official duties. Recording telephone conversations without informing the other party unless you are recording being harassed. When is recording a conversation a crime in California? California Penal Code 632 dictates that all four of these circumstances must be met in order to charge someone under California law. Intent. California law aims to prevent private conversations from being secretly recorded. It is not illegal to record something in a public space and accidentally record a private conversation. Electronic device. An electronic recording device must be used in order to be charged under Penal Code 632. These include microphones, telephones, laptops, and personal computers. Privacy. It must be a confidential conversation where there is a reasonable expectation of privacy. This allows for some wiggle room in the law as there is a large difference between an intimate restaurant and a public bench in terms of illegal recordings. Consent. On private property or in private settings you may legally record if you gain the prior consent of all parties. California Penal Code 631 relates to wiretapping and makes it illegal to use any method, physical or digital, to make unauthorized access to someone's conversation. This most often relates to phone lines and telephone calls but can also relate to any other digital method of communication such as VoIP. Recording personal conversations in California. California state law is intended to punish the recording of conversations where all contributing parties have not given consent but does not forbid such recordings in instances where the communication happened in a public place, during government proceedings, or in a situation where one could be easily overheard by others. You may not record conversations without the consent of everyone taking part. California recording law exceptions. California Penal Code 632 does not apply in a few specific areas. Law enforcement personnel are allowed to legally record conversations that they are not a party to. Police officers may then legally use this evidence for criminal prosecutions. Private citizens are also allowed to utilize these exceptions in a much more limited capacity. In order to use this exception, two circumstances must be met. The person recording must be a part of the conversation. This essentially changes California law from an all-party consent state into a single-party consent state. They must be recording conversations in order to gather evidence that the other party committed one of the following crime: extortion, kidnapping, bribery, harassing phone calls, or any felony involving violence against another person. This allows you to record conversations in most instances where you feel threatened.
Okay, so that it seemed like I probably turned, or somebody said, "Well, what the hell is he doing, going through the law stuff?" Well, I like to educate people and let them understand my motivation as to what I'm doing, and let them know that I know what I am doing. Jumping back to when I was driving up to the camera box on Mount Meadow near Link Road, I went there under the impression that I was only going to be meeting with the property manager, Rich, and possibly the new contractor, because he had my property in his possession. So when I drove there, I saw the board member there, and he's one of the board members who is one of the hostile. I'm gonna just say hostile. It's the president of the HOA that's hostile towards me. And I'm gonna say this right off the top, because I talk to some people. You know, they says, well, it's probably racism, and no. It's nothing to do with the race card. Just personalities and different things that actually kind of started a long time ago. It just kept on the wraps. Just with the president. And so anyway, so drive up, and so the fact that I'm a security guy, surveillance guy, a lot of people do not know what else I do. And I do um, all sorts of things. I think I might have said in one of the other videos. I do support for investigations in law enforcement. At times, it get called into it. Just video support only. It's kind of somebody had said, how can I do law enforcement support for video? Well, if you're a city vendor, they need equipment set up. City contractor, come out, do it, set it up, support it. So that's the extent of if I'm involved in a law enforcement investigation. So on my vehicle, I have cameras, and I also do security surveys. And I have a YouTube video on how to do security site surveys. I haven't pushed this hard on YouTube because I don't want a lot of hits and people start finding out that I do this type of stuff. So what you see here is I'm in my work truck, and I was set up that day just like this. And so when I saw the board member, I click on my laptop that sits there, start recording. Okay, I'm recording video, I'm recording audio. And so jumping back to as to why I laid out the recording laws, so they will know now that, oh damn, he got everything on video and audio what transpired between us. And so I am going to I'm not going to go through the whole thing. That's what's on the video. I do not even plan on showing the video. I'll pretty much tell you right off the top is that the fact that I saw that board member there was no reason for him to be there. I was supposed to be there just with Rich to get my stuff, and so just by his stance, and I have experience in reading body language, you can pretty much tell when it's going to be an issue. So the fact that I thought that it was going to be a confrontational issue, that's why I started recording. I also, when I got there, I had already had in my mind that I was going to be an asshole. And the reason why I was going to be, I did as soon as I got there, because there's no need to beat around the bush. I didn't want to play footsies and start leading up to, and how people start off. And so I just went into, and it's kind of a police tactic, good cop, bad cop in a sense. So bad cop. So I get there, and so we started, talking and this and that. And I want to say probably about into two minutes into me talking to Rich, and the board member, he started engaging. I just my demeanor and probably the tone of my voice and how I was saying things ticked them off. And so we started engaging. And so we started talking about, and now I'm just going to read from a list that I just took from the video, just to summarize that what was said by the board member. And I do not want to show that video. Um, because one, it would bring the property manager Rich into it, which I'm not going to let that happen if I have to show the video. I will totally blank him out. I will blank out every piece of audio that when he was talking. Um, he's just a property manager hired by the HOA to manage the property. Pretty much a neutral party, but he works at the whim of the HOA, and so these are the things that was said by this board member, because I wanted my property, and board member says, no, I'm not getting it. It's the our property, meaning the ranch HOA. Is And I'm not going to even go down a whole list, because it would just be stupid of me just to go down that everything was said. But it's just basically that I wasn't getting my property, I wasn't getting paid the 1,700 that's due to me, and then as well as I had begin, due to the fact that I couldn't get my property from the 15th, I charged $250 a day rental for the support of the equipment, as well as $250 1 hour labor every day until I get my stuff back. Going no higher than 5,000, and 5,000 is small claims court, and that's the ceiling for me, because no attorneys appear. One of the board members would have to appear in small claims, and then we just take it from there. I'm hoping that it doesn't go to that part, because I think I've laid out pretty much what has happened, transpired from the contract to everything. So I'll just leave it at that, as to what the board member and I were engaged in. He knows what everything he said, so if it comes to it, that doing the conversations off cam, and I said, well, you said this, you said that, da 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 da. It's on the video, the audio, come clear as day. If it denies it and have to prove it, then I'll come back and redo another video and pretty much set it up like that. So that is that portion. I'm trying to see. I'm trying to keep these video sections short, but it's kind of hard to do. But I'm gonna loop this part in, because it's all in one. So probably about after 10, I want to say probably about 10 minutes, because it didn't make it 15 minutes. The we were both pretty heated. Oh, let me back up on one thing. When he had said that he wasn't going to give me my property, what I had did was said that I was going to call the police. Okay. And so he laughed, when I said I was going to call the police. I had said that because I had wanted to go back to my truck and look at the laptop and make sure that the recording was going on, because it was just kind of like, oh, this shit is good. I said, this is good. He said, he's going off, and saying things that he shouldn't be saying. Okay. And so, me, I'm a quick thinker. I already know this is a civil dispute. It's not criminal. There was nothing physical. It was just a ruse for me to get to my truck to make sure that the recording and the audio was on point. Okay. And so, such as what was up, and I'll actually show you. It's gonna probably double. I hope not, but let me see here. Let me see. It's gonna probably double. So this is the broadcast software, and so when I went to my laptop, I wanted to make sure that the microphone, as you see the meter going back and forth as I talk, was moving, and I saw the video. So it was there. I says, "Oh, I'm good." Okay, so all that's recorded. So when take you out. All right. So after, like I said, 10 or almost 15 minutes, I left because the contractor hadn't came. So I had prior engagement that I needed to get to. That's why I had the cameras and audio already on my truck. So it just kind of like sometimes fate works out when bad things are happening. So so the guy didn't come, but however, the property manager, uh, Rich, he wind up later dropping off some of my property. So when I came home, Rich and I had talked, and I wasn't there, but I remotely opened up my garage, and then I just told him to drop it in. My other half was home. I let her know that I'm right in the garage. The property manager is dropping off some of my property. So when I came home, uh, this box was sitting on the my ladder. So right at first, I'm like, okay, where is my property? So I opened it up, and there was some of my property because the radios and other support stuff software is still with the computer, the camera computer servers. So I looked at it. The radios was there, the phone. Um, so I closed it back. So I looked at it and turn this around. So I looked at it, and then I saw the name Ryan Boyce and whatnot. And actually, I had just met Ryan at the box because he was there working on the system, and so we had chit chatted, and then I told him I was the old person, and he says, "Oh man, it would help me out if I can just get the password, to the camera servers." And so I explained the whole thing to him, and first thing he said was, "You didn't put it in a backup account?" I says, "I was trying to do a backup account for someone for since 2018." And so, I think really it was the mindset that nobody wanted to be that part of the computer system. So it never was done. And so we wind up I did tell him some things about the system, and I told him where there were some issues on the corner cameras because I have 4 cameras on that corner, but it's only 2 cat 5 lines that feeds there. And so I told him, I says, hey, I got that configured in such a way that if you took everything apart and not knowing how I got it configured, because it's PoE, um, it's power over Ethernet, and I may be talking a little technical to the non-IT people, but it's and I'm I'm making 2 lines into 4 lines to feed those cameras, and so you have to be careful. But then I guess, as I'm talking to him, I guess he probably said, "Oh, oh, oh, okay," and I already know the 180 camera and the pan tilt zoom camera, which are the 2 newer high resolution cameras, are not hooked up as to his system that he put in. And then as well as Ryan Boyce told me that, because I asked him, I says, you know, I saw that you put it in another system. And so he has said, I didn't ask him who, but he has said that they told him that I had locked them. No, not that I had locked them out, that they were locked out of the camera system and couldn't use it. So do what he had to do to get the cameras working. So I guess he wind up selling them a new camera system, or it's based on, I saw a camera, a Reolink camera on the park side, um, taken, put in, and I guess he was trying to use the current cameras, but then not having the passwords, and um, so like I told him, I said I would have loved to have helped him, but you started working on the 15th, and it's supposed to have been the first, and so he had told me that they had wanted him to start immediately because they couldn't see anything from out the cameras. And so I said, well, that's odd, because the president, she's been looking at all the camera sites for about the past week, and I have records. And so it says, and none of them never had me put them in for a admin into any of the cameras themselves, or the camera computer servers. And you know and this is why we're basically here. I says we wouldn't have been here had he started on the first, as it said inside their letter, because I was already in the process, and I had, 2 more weeks. I wasn't doing it immediately. I probably was going to do it the well, whenever I got to it. I got other jobs and projects going on, and so, but I would have changed everything over to just a admin user, admin password, and all the cameras in all of the computer camera servers. But then he yanked out the camera server at Mountain Meadows and Link Road, which messed up what was going to go down. And so, as I explained to him, I says, the minute that you took the cameras down, that on the corner, that gave me the inability to do what I had needed to do. And then I wasn't going to be hanging on to a camera system that where the new contractor is working on it, and based on how the letter was written, was like, don't touch anything, don't touch the network, like I was going to do something malicious to the camera systems. But that would be foolish of me because just as I mentioned in one of the other videos, that I'm a homeowner as well. I've been at the ranch since when I first put my signed the paper and put down the down payment in April of 2001. I believe everybody on that board and around is that they all moved here after me. I moved in the ranch second phase. Bought it when it was still framed up. Uh, so trying to think that I would do something malicious, and then being a former retired police officer, I don't get down like that, you know. So I think that the overzealousness and the personality conflict with me and a couple of people on the board um, kind of made them jump the gun a little bit too quick and didn't realize that they were actually messing up stuff by having him come in and not even talking to me. Nobody contacted me. You know, they're basically this is there's two people only on the board. There's only two people on the board that has had the issues. There's one board member on there. She, I know that she has to be basically be neutral, and just going off as to what the other board members are saying about Ken getting in, because she's never even wanted to even get into the camera system. I know that she really don't even want to have anything to do with it, you know, look at it or whatever. So as for that board member, you know, I pretty much say that she's just going with the flow, and then she really, you know, can only go by what these other two board members are saying. But I don't know if they know that the president logs on to the system all the time. Speaking of which, let me see here. I did that before. So today's the what is it, the 23rd? Because it's now, because I've actually been doing this in pieces, and so this is a Sunday now, and and as you basically see here, make sure I can see that because I have another window open. Okay, yep. As you basically can see here on the 19th, Tina has logged on to Dawson Creek, and that's the president. And so this OHDC3, that's Oak Highland Dawson Creek 3, means camera site 3. So she logged in on the 19th, the 20th. On the 20th, she logged in on TRSM, which is the Ranch Sage Meadows, which is on the other side of the creek. She did that at 9:18 p.m. This one here says Gina's user ID and password has been used. OHPS means Oak Highland Park Site. Okay, and that's actually site 2. TRSM is site 3. She can't do on OHMS that would be there here, as she had logged on Saturday, January 15th at 10:24 a.m. And this is during the time that the contractor is working on the camera. And so she was on, and she logged off on at 12:25 p.m. on that Saturday. And then she logged on to the Oak Highland main site at 12:33 p.m. So, you can see that she made it to all 4 camera sites at some point, because this is camera site 2, even though the 2 is not there, and 4, and that's 4. You see 3, and then and this is camera site 1. So for anyone to say that they could not log into the camera system would basically be fabricating a story. And if the president didn't tell everyone and they were unaware that she was actually been logging on and leading them astray, then we have a problem. The HOA homeowners all have a problem, because now I'm on the Lewis surveillance side is in conflict with the board based on the fact of they're being charged daily the amount of money because I didn't get all of my equipment. The one of the board members, Jim Long, he did try to reach out to me to give me a radio, but it's like, why would I return a call just to retrieve one radio? So so let me go back to here. So this is supposed to be the new contractor, the new company. Now, when I talked to Ryan, you know, he didn't per se say that he was a camera guy. He just told me that he was a IT. He works in IT and has worked in IT for 25 years. So I see on this box his name and East Bay Tire Company, Unit C. And so the fact that you start putting 2 and 2 together, you know, because he put my stuff in the box. This is the type of stuff that police love in investigations, is that when people realize that they give you evidence or leave evidence around, and if you're a former cop like I am, you immediately pick up. Because so I go like this. He says he's in IT. That's a tire company. So tire companies do not do camera systems. So who is he per se as a new company? When I had asked him for his business card, he says, "Oh, I don't have one." I said, "How about your website?" I don't have one. Oh, okay. And so me, like me, I have a couple of websites. Just some people know, but you type in Lewis Surveillance, and here I am. Okay. It says what I do. You can go through different things. The support stuff here is here, and the services that I do here. The service level. If you go to my website, this is yep. When the price increases are already hit. So it's here. And so if you wind up going here, this is where you download my information, rates, and you know what it costs. Most of the stuff is custom. I do, you know, custom quotes and stuff. So this is where for the maintenance stuff I operate. So anybody who's looking at this wants to know, you just go there, and so you can get a clearer picture as to what I do and what I was doing. This is like, it's gonna be a long one because I have additional stuff to say. So so that's here. So I have my website. Also, if you wind up going there, you'll get my YouTube info. Add to my channel. If you're a person that like I want to know about security and stuff, I'm still putting this together. Yeah, I'm giving myself a plug in all this drama. Um, so there I have that, and then I have another website. Let me see one more thing here. And so that down here you can see my copyright 2022. I don't do cookies, trying to track and all that stuff, but you will get the notice if you go there. And so my other website, as to where I do the support for the investigation stuff, is under my name, jameslewis.us. I was pretty lucky to get that. I'm the only one in the world with that domain name. You can do .com, but somebody else has that. I like to do US, so that makes me nationwide. So that's here as well, that you can go through, and on here there's a KAG private investigation, my old partner from the Holland 30 days, and like I said, I support private investigators and law enforcement still. So that's what this website is for. So here I had, I have both of my websites. He has let me see here. Okay. So after all of this drama of saying that I wasn't going to get all of my stuff, the board member Jim Long, that's who been the board member that came out there, and again, had he not came out there, we wouldn't be this far along in the additional monies and stuff, because for a minute I was suspending the stuff to give some opportunity to get all of my stuff back, because they started giving it to me. But then this is just one. Still, my mask is still there, and the other radio is still up, because it's entangled into the network. You have to do certain things, because otherwise the whole network will come down. So I saw this text, but I'm not, I didn't even respond, because there was no way that I was going to let him come here to my home, bringing that when we have conflict and it was a hostile situation. I would be very foolish to do that. So I didn't even respond back. But again, after he said that was their property, and I pointed everything out, and I wasn't getting it, and I'm not getting paid, now they want to start giving me my stuff. But the rest of it is still active. Support software. I already saw me log into all the camera servers, so it's kind of a moot point as to trying to give me one radio when I need that. This is not even a part of it. I guess I pulled that in. That's, how you wind up saving stuff to certain areas and you don't know where it basically is. Well, I might as well tell this because it's actually some good news. So, um, I became the strategic advisor for Plate Recognizer and Park Powell. PlateRecognizer.com and ParkPowell.com. I'm doing a whole separate video outside of this drama, and that has to do with license plate capture and parking enforcement. Which actually I was telling Rich about that he's going to wind up loving what I am putting together with this company, and just the backdrop in Las Vegas. See, like I said, plate recognizer. I know I'm kind of straying, but if somebody happens to start looking at this and you need license plate capture stuff on your cameras, as well as a parking enforcement solution with cameras, I have that now. And I'm this picture was taken when I was down there making the pitch to some of the hotels. It's it's going to take off, but right now it's COVID. Las Vegas is crime broke. Um, this is Kai Tang and Jenny Tang of Plate Recognizer. He's the CEO. And that's his sister. This day they gave me my business card. I'm like, wow, I had no clue that they were making me their strategic advisor. I'm not an employee. Um, um, I won't say certain things, but it's going to be very lucrative for me in the future, because I'm bringing for them a law enforcement component, uh, as to kind of like, well, a lot of people. I did a thing on Flock, okay, um, and if you saw on YouTube on Flock, you saw it, but I'm bringing an actual law enforcement component to it because I work law enforcement and I understand crime prevention, and I understand what is needed as for license plate capture. I know I'm going off into something else, so I'll just cut this part out. Look for that video on the channel. I'm going to be talking a lot about this, as well as some PowerPoints, and I'm going to have Kai on my channel periodically discussing a lot of things on this. And he's also one of the software programmers for it. So, but I will say this: they are private company, private. They're not on the stock exchange yet. You know, um, you might just want to write that down and look up Kai Tang and you just might want to just jot something down. That's as much as I can say at this point. So that is pretty much, yeah, that's it. I've already been rambling, but you can listen as much as you want to come back, because I'm putting all this together on my YouTube channel, unlisted, but in a playlist. And by if you're looking at this, then I had directed you to both of my websites, because I'm going to put it as the landing point, because it's more easier for me to say to go to my website as to try to send you links and all of that. And what I plan on doing is walking the whole development with flyers, and directing all the homeowners to go to my website to find out what happened to the camera system. Because right now, I don't think even from what I can see, there is no working cameras on Mountain Meadows and Link Road at this time. They were working on January the 15th, smooth recording. Um, then they brought in a new contractor who didn't know the underlying issues and knocked them out. So I will end this and then jump on to the other video. I only just have one other one which will show the current systems on January 22nd operational. Camera site 2, the cameras are missing, but it's still connected to the network and internet, as well as camera site 3. You will see for January 22nd, there's nothing wrong with the system. In camera site 4, and I go into each of the user locations and show all the board members' names and everybody in there that have access to it. Oh, as well as the fact that they say that they haven't been able to get into it. I created a YouTube video for the camera software. Specifically, I made it for them, but everybody will use it, and I really haven't pumped it out there as they call for the SEO, and so I've already had 400 hits on it. I did it about a couple of months ago, and it's an instructional video on how to use the app, the phone app, to view the cameras, and that's what that video is about. So I want to close this, and hopefully I can get done with all these videos. It's more me telling my story of my side, and will give the homeowners a lot of questions and wonders that they will be asking the board. Because I've already talked to a few people, and they're pretty hot. I'm gonna tell the board, if you're looking at this, it has some hot neighbors over here on the Cedar Brook side. They're hot. So with that, this one, 99, because it is night now.